23, we did less than 500,000. I think it was like 470 something. Um, 2024, we did around 3 million. And this year we'll do about 16 million. 2026 we'll do 50 million. And then 2027 we will do 100 million. There you go.
Hey guys, this is John Klein with BrainWith. I'm here with Kameron Kicklighter. He is the vice president and co-founder of WeGym. How you doing today, Cameron?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Tell me about yourself.
Well, I am based in Connecticut. If you see me scream in pain, it's because I have a little kitten running around who is destroying everything around me. Yeah, I live in Connecticut. I am a foster parent. Love plants. You can kind of see some plants in the background. I have a lot of animals. Yeah, and run a pretty cool brand called WeGym. So life
That's
is
super
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us about WeGym. How's that going?
Oh gosh. So WeGym was kind of an idea, of how do you take fitness, something that's been around for forever, and make it more inclusive and accessible. WeGym was born post-pandemic, which means that everything changed. All of a sudden, the biggest focus was being at home and being safe. And then our generation has kids. We have our own spaces, and so we wanted to create something that people could have in their home that was high quality and beautiful. It wasn't something you feel like you needed to go hide in your garage. It could, be out and displayed proudly. And then creating all of the resources and training and programs that people needed. We have our mobile app, which is very much centered around functional, kind of everyday fitness. We're very much a come as you are brand. We don't present a version of fitness that is raw, grind, sweat. We understand that sometimes you're a busy mom. You're going to have 20 minutes twice a week, and sometimes you might just go sit on your yoga mat and stretch. If that's all you got, great. But giving people the tools if you want to really go with this. We have amazing instructors. You can kind of keep adding from our portfolio of products to really build out your home gym so that's something that you're proud of, and it's a place where you go and you kind of get as much as you give. We focus a lot on like how our products feel. So if you ever, I'll have to send you some products because whenever you feel our dumbbells or our yoga mats or anything, um, it makes it kind of fun. It's almost like a little child. Like they're just fun to hold. They're fun to play with. They're all developed to be really innovative. Each product we kind of put our own little spin on. Our kettlebells, for instance, you can just drop them on your foot and it won't hurt. It won't damage your
Oh,
floor. They're
wow.
soft kettlebells. Um, yeah, and the past few years has really been crazy for our brand. This time last year, we were just starting to get noticed. In the beginning, that first year, we fought for every piece of content, or we fought for every testimonial, every like micro influencer that we could. And then there was kind of this tipping point where when we launched our dumbbells, all of a sudden we started getting this attention, for this. We had a really great product. People were really starting to notice our brand. We'd been focusing on building a community. And so all of a sudden we had all these people coming to us, and this little brand and this little idea that we had really started to explode. We had big time influencers and some celebrity owned brands coming to us asking for partnerships. And at the time we had 3 employees. So it felt so huge and so big. We're up to 10 employees now. I'm hiring another 5 in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We are launching some really big programs that are geared towards, professional fitness people, fitness spaces, instructors, and really, doubling down on what we do with home fitness. But right now, our goal is to be the leader and to be the leader of fitness professionals, which I think is a pretty big goal for us. But when we sit down and our founder Cami, when we sit down and we look at where we want to go with it and what we see as a possibility, um, we approach brand building, I think, a little bit differently. It's very much about impact for us. We're very blessed financially in that we don't have a bunch of shareholders to answer to. We don't have really overly aggressive goals that we have to meet. We our founder Cami is amazing in that she knows that this takes time. That this is her legacy brand. She has a very successful other company that has really allowed us to really hone in on who we are and what do we want to do. We're at a point now where the business is doing really well, which it just makes it even more fun. But as the co-founder and I run our team here in America, I consider myself to be one of the most blessed people just because of this opportunity. Like when you talk about like a dream job or a dream situation, like I could not have designed it to be any better. Um, and I think that's kind of just it's something that I try and make everybody's reality throughout our company and all of our people. Um, we really try and work differently. We build our team differently. And to me, that's kind of like where you start. And then it kind of permeates outward and everywhere. I know I said a lot from such a simple question.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, my next question, tell me more about it is going to be where we're going next. But so that's
Yeah.
super cool. So you guys have three streams of income, maybe more. So it's going to be the equipment, then you're going to have the online services like the training digital wise, and then the actual in-person studios, right?
So we opened an in-person studio. I'm actually in it right now. Last year, we opened it here in West Hartford, Connecticut, and there ended up not being, we opened it because we just happened to be here. It wasn't really a big strategic thing, but we decided to convert it mostly into an event space. So to answer your question, we have our gear, and we're going to have our pro line and we have our home line. We will have our mobile app, which will be, for people to, just have a regular membership or they can follow their favorite instructors. And we're launching what we're calling WeGym Academy, which will be another avenue for us, which is us training and certifying the next generation of instructors. A lot of what we have planned over the next couple years is geared towards instructors.
Mm.
We
So like
do,
educational. You're going to like
yeah,
certify,
yeah,
get certificates and stuff.
yeah. We
Yeah.
hire close to 100 instructors a year, from our affiliate program to our mobile app to events. We work with a lot of instructors. I mean, because that's where you talk about community and kind of expertise being a professional fitness brand. It starts with your instructors. And what we found is, I mean, there's amazing instructors out there, but some of our best and favorites were people that we were able to kind of be a part of their journey and help support them and cultivate them and get them the education, make sure they had the proper resources and tools. And they ended up being some of our highest performing instructors, both on our mobile app and in our in-person studio. And we started talking to instructors about what does getting educated look like? What does getting your certification or license or whatever look like? And it can be expensive. It can require a lot of traveling and, time away from doing the thing that is your career and makes you money. So we had an idea of how do we use our mobile app to create a space where instructors can come and get the education they need, the experience that they need, the mentorship. That's going to be a really big piece of what we introduce is mentorship, whether it's for a studio, building a social platform, teaching a group class, doing, one-on-one personal training, creating a space where people can come and get what they need to be a professional fitness instructor and to monetize something that, it may be a hobby now, but you really want to leave your 9 to 5 and do something that you have a lot of passion over and control over and build something for yourself. And so, over the next 2 years, we will invest close to $2 million in instructor resources, training, and opportunities. Again, from events to our mobile app to the academy. We're really doubling down and really focusing on instructors because they bring the community, and we wouldn't have a brand without them. So
That's awesome. So what's the goal with this educational source? Are you guys is this a good money maker, or are you doing this kind of more to get people hooked onto your brand, WeGym? Hey, and then so they say, hey, I have a WeGym certificate for training. And like that looks really good for you guys, or is this like, no,
yeah,
we're actually going to make good money with this
you know,
certification training?
I'm not sure about the money piece. I think when I think about programs like this, it's the indirect benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So, our instructor program or our WeGym Academy, we're not planning to charge a bunch of money. I mean, this really is something to get people the education that they need. It's
Mm.
not philanthropic, but we're not going into it thinking we're going to make a bunch of money off of this. Where it makes sense for us and our business is that we want people to be able to, let's say I'm 24 years old. I love to work out. I would love to do group fitness or something like that. I'm not really sure where to start. There's so much information. You're being bombarded with options. Ideally, I want somebody to be able to come to WeGym. They can go through whatever instructor program or certification, get whatever knowledge that they need so that they are licensed and certified to do it. Now they're going to start, whether it's, on group fitness or on, Instagram, then they can get a mentor that is an expert in whatever it is they're going to do. We have a whole array of people, many different disciplines, Pilates, yoga, strength, you name it. And so then you have somebody to help guide you to get set up, whether it's creating your legal entity, whether it's getting insurance. There's all these things that exist around it.
Mm-hmm.
For us, what we would love is for those people to say, all right, now I want to teach on the WeGym Studio app. I have this knowledge from them. I've been mentored by those instructors. I've been told exactly, you know, what to look out for and how I should go about this while still cultivating, like, who am I? What value do I bring? How am I different? I get very good rates for the gear that I will need to train with. My certification used this gear, so I know exactly how to use it and how to teach people how to use it. They start on the WeGym Studio app. They will get paid for subscribers that come to them. I joke that it's like OnlyFans. We have our main membership, but then you can pay a little bit more. And like, I want to subscribe to Ashley. She's my absolute favorite. If I subscribe to her, now I'm getting that weekly content that our instructors are able to record and upload. They can do their own 10-week series, whatever it is like that. So then the instructor is getting paid for memberships. They're given a mobile app that they don't have to create. That's a pretty big trend right now as instructors create their own mobile app. Then they spend
Right.
half their time managing a mobile app and not doing fitness. So we
Mm-hmm.
take all of that out, and then the instructors will get paid out with royalties. So if your videos are being viewed and they're being consumed, you get paid for that. And
Mm.
so then for us, we're looking at it like we want to create this next generation of highly competent, skilled, compassionate fitness instructors, and then have them build the community. You know, our
Mm.
community building, obviously we care about our end user immensely, but you know, again, over the next 2 years, the money and our time is going to be about creating instructors. We hope you stay with us. We don't require that. We will not have exclusivity contracts. I don't believe in that. I believe that people should work with you because you create an environment that makes sense for them to work with you. And that means healthy expectations, respect, um, good compensation. Um, and so that's really the value for an instructor. And, you know, for the people who are really, you know, we have some instructors that they're contractors, but they are so closely tied to who we are as a brand. They're in these conversations with us talking about what are the programs we're going to invest in. These instructors, we have paid thousands and thousands of dollars for them to go get. We just paid for somebody to have a really intense kettlebell certification because to us, it makes sense for one of our instructors to be one of the industry experts on kettlebells. We love our kettlebells. We think they're an amazing tool. Um, and those people, you know, the more people really want to engage with us, you're who we're going to go to when it comes time to shoot an ad campaign. You're who we're going to go to when it comes time to host a really big event, and we want you to teach it. Um, the idea is that you can get what you get. Hopefully, you get more than you give into it, and that's really how we approach everything that we do. You know, we really do our best to, in whatever way you're engaging with our brand, it's something that you're getting a lot of value back.
Mm.
And that's no different from our instructors.
Yeah. No, that's huge. I think that would be a really good resource. My sister-in-law, she does Pilates, and she
Yeah.
does like instructing for it and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, what would be good for her to have that certification? Because I was looking at a time when I was in, getting out of high school and stuff. I was like, oh, it'd be nice to get some certifications for different things. I was thinking I want to do personal training, but it's a loophole. It's kind of hard to
Mhm.
know even what is who even cares about what, right? But you go to Crunch Fitness and you see all the personal trainers on the screen and they have their list of certifications, and so that's even good for you guys to say,
Yeah.
oh, they're certified by WeGym for strength training.
And that's what I want. You know, I want being associated with our brand to be kind of an industry stamp of approval. You know, I want
Yeah.
people to go, oh wow, like they're a We Gym instructor. I want that to mean something, and I think it will. You know, it might take us another year, but I think if we focus on the right aspects of it and focus on what the actual value is, and not just trying to make it into like a money making program, um, yeah, I think it'll be something that we can grow very, very quickly.
Yeah. And I know like Spotify's their strategy, I forgot their CEO's name, but they're like, oh man, we made so many billions for all these different artists, right? So many billions. And then you look at them, I think they did what, like 7 billion or forgive me for my numbers.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, look how much money you like lost. They're like, no, no, no. Like our goal is to make these people as much money as possible. And we're just kind of like we're filling in the gaps. Like the more money we make them, the more money we'll make.
Yeah,
Right. And I think that's a great strategy.
I think it's something that has to shift in business. I mean, like not even in the fitness industry. I think that to build a brand in this day and age and to attract top talent and to attract good people who care about what they do, you you know, we don't let our business be driven by revenue and profit. We really don't. Though when we're having our big conversations for the year, it's about impact. And
Hmm.
I think in this day and age, to be a company who is just constantly prioritizing profit over people, it doesn't work. I Our generation is different. It's changing, you know? Like our generation doesn't want to sell their soul to a business, and you shouldn't. I think that's crazy. I tell people, my team all the time, like there will rarely ever be anything that is worth you missing something in your life. If you're Don't work when you're sick. If your kid's sick, take the day off. if like go on vacation, and when you do, go on vacation. Like it's fine. I think we have to give people the space to be human. And that's my big motto is like be human first. And when Cami and I met before we had any team member, before we had anything, I was very clear about the kind of brand I wanted to make, and that my goal, as you know, in my role, is that I'm going to make a brand and a business that people want to work for. If top talent wants to work for us and wants to keep working for us, then I have done my job well.
Hmm.
And all of the revenue goals, all of that will happen, because I believe that's what happens when you have a really good team that you take care of. Um, and you know, we're very protective about who we let onto our team. A lot of the people that are now our team members start as contractors on a specific project or something, and then we have this time to really see if it's a good fit, and then and then they'll kind of formally come onto the team. But we really do our best to take care of our people, and I hope if you were to talk to some of the people on our team, they would say the same thing. But um, and from the very beginning, we offered full health, medical insurance, dental, vision, 401k matching, a great time off policy. We did that from the beginning, which, like, I don't know how many startups you work with. That's unheard of for
No,
most
no.
startups. We were in a
Yeah.
position where we could do it, but you know, you have to do that. And like, if that means changing how much profit you're making, if
Hmm.
that means adjusting some of these other goals, that's what you do. And
Hmm.
it's not even a conversation anymore.
Do you feel like that's different from other companies? As you said, obviously, most startups can't do that because it is very much profit, revenue, how much we're doing, because we don't have that. Yes, a very blessed situation that you have somebody so awesome that's able to put in the money, sees the long term, because you guys are doing it the right way, I would say, being that you have the resources, you have the money to be able to make it 5 years and be way bigger, way more better structured than anybody else, such as a startup. But as like a startup company, that's probably, would you say, a harder way to go?
Um, I don't know that it's a harder way to go. I mean, there are brands that, just knowing how they work, that they take care of their people. They're really people first. Um, those are the brands that we like to collaborate with, but I think it's different. Like it's just not when we're hiring really good people now, people who are experts in their field and they've been doing it for 10 or 15 years. And it's always really interesting when people come, and this is something I always pay attention to, is like whenever somebody has to ask off for vacation or something for the first time, it's so interesting to me. And you'll really quickly learn the dynamic that this person is coming from.
Mm, okay.
Because a really good person, when you're interviewing them and starting, they're not going to sit there and trash their boss, even if their boss was a nightmare. So you have to kind of learn this experience that they're coming from, and people will get really nervous, or they will get like, oh my god, like, I'm so sorry, I think somebody else might also be taking time off, and like I can have my phone. And I think that's so sad. I think it's really sad that our country and our, workforce and brands have created that kind of environment where people feel like they can't rock the ship, because if they do, the whole thing will come falling down. But I have, I call it my drop dead rule. And it's when anybody on our team should theoretically be able to disappear or drop dead, and the ship keeps moving without them. Um, and it's something that can be a challenge sometimes. Sometimes, like, you're building something that you're like, but is this actually going to be useful? We don't need it right this second. But then when the time comes when you do need it, and you do have this information available, or you do have this systemized, or you do have it, then you love it. But it's for the team members, if they know that they've been like, and I will hound people about this, about getting it set up so that when you do take time off, or you need to take some unexpected time off because your kid is sick or something, you don't have to worry about it. You know that like whoever needs to step in knows exactly what they're going to do, that whatever information or meetings or access everybody else has. Um, and then it does allow you that kind of flexibility. To me, it's just like how business should work. And like I'm always just baffled when you know, I I've worked for other companies before I, started doing my own thing. And there's a lot of bad leadership out there. There's a lot of bad like just business owners, and I think it comes back to leadership. There's a lot of bad leaders out there, and you'll see it. Just look at their team. Look at their team. Are they able to have fun and be sarcastic? Are they able to joke with each other? And that may seem little, but I I think joy needs to be
Mm,
just as important as profit. I think that it can be a real missing piece. But I think when you see brands and businesses that have it, and like truly have it, not like, oh yeah, we're having a pizza party on Friday. Like this needs to be ingrained into who you are as a business and as a brand. Um, I think it's the way that it should operate. And it's
mhm.
interesting because we're at a point right now where our team is getting a lot bigger, and we're just starting to have, people who report to me, they're hiring their own team.
Yeah.
And so now we're
Yeah.
adding levels where, we have contractors. The whole thing is getting bigger. And I'm very focused right now on how do we keep building and growing, but keep this
Hmm.
small business connection, intimate environment, and replicate it. And so we have a lot of conversations with, our senior members about what it means for them to lead a team. We talk about how are you working with a team member who, messes something up. Um, there's a lot of leadership coaching baked into what we do, especially as we grow the team. So
Mm. Yeah, that's something we always tell our clients is that, and having that relationship with your team, having that relationship amongst the coworkers, that actually does equal into profit. It may not seem it right away. It may cost
absolutely.
you a little bit to go take everybody out to dinner, to, meet up at the beach or something like that. But we're in Florida, so it's, the beach is something we do, but it's so worth it for the profit of the company for the long term. And people don't quit jobs, right? They quit bosses, they quit the community, they quit the
Mhm.
misunderstandings, they quit all those like other problems. They're not like, hey, I specifically hate what I was doing there. They hate the
Yeah.
environment. And it does actually increase profit so much. It really does.
Yeah. It,
People want to go above and beyond what their job description is. But if they're afraid to go above and beyond because they don't want to step on toes, they're afraid to make mistakes, then you start seeing bad profits, right? You want everybody to make as much money as possible. And that's how
uh
you make as much money. Because at the end of the day, it is ultimately about, we're doing this because we want to make money, but also we want to
Yeah.
enjoy what we're doing. And it's such a beautiful balance that there's no other way for it to go except together.
Yep.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like we hire a lot of people. We're in the thick of it when it comes to, building other people's careers and attracting good people. And you hit the nail on the head. It is so expensive to have to like have somebody leave your team. People
Mm,
often forget about the expenses that come when somebody leaves your team.
hmm
But then
hmm
adding a new person, training them, operationally, the stress that puts on the rest of your team, the it is bad for business. And
hmm
so and it's crazy to me too, like when you talk about compensation, I always try and pay our people as much as I possibly can. And recently had somebody come and ask for a $20,000 raise, which I think was totally warranted. I said, I can't do that just yet. I can do it in a few months, but how about, he's like, well, let's meet in the middle. All right, cool. We're going to do this. Like, this is what we can do. As long as you're able to do this, then like, obviously you get the rest of this. It just baffles me when I hear about people who ask for a raise, were denied it, so they leave. And then
Mm.
the other company now is in a terrible position. Like, it's
Hmm.
better business. Give the person the raise. It's, I think we have to stop thinking that always doing things based on price is the best, cheapest decision.
Mm.
At some point, you have to look at the larger ramifications of this, and it's not worth it.
Yeah. What's
And
your opinion on giving somebody a raise for doing the same amount of work, or do you give them extra jobs, right? Because you can only pay somebody so much to do. So I own a service business, right? And so I have
Mhm.
guys going out doing window cleaning jobs, right? I can only pay somebody so much to do a window, before at some point it doesn't make sense. So if
Right.
they want more money, I can give them either more responsibilities or I can just close those margins tighter and tighter. What's your opinion on that?
And this is a conversation we just had specifically about like the realm of social media and social media managers, because there's not much, like you're saying, you kind of get to a point and it's like, well, where do I go from here? I think it's all about figuring out other opportunities for them. And this is where I think you get to be really open to what it looks like. If you're able to be flexible. So like for me, I would go to that person and have a conversation with them. Do you have any ideas about how we can change maybe how this works? Or do you have any ideas about your role? Do you have things that you think we could introduce? Are you looking to be a manager one day? Do you as a business need that? Is there an opportunity for them to add a, another minor service to it? Is there an opportunity for you to add a different tier, more premium product or service? I'm the kind of person that I think if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. And I think rules don't exist. That's one thing I
Mhm.
tell my team all the time. Like, no is a complete sentence, but it's not a death sentence.
Right.
You get no, or this doesn't work, or you can't do that. I'm also just like, you tell me no, I will do it. um,
I love that book, Start at No. Great book.
yeah, yeah, and I think that if you and we have these conversations all the time of like, this is what we want. We
Yep.
do not see a path there yet.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let's start to figure it out.
Well, so I guess so that comes down to yes, it's not a hey, we're giving you a raise for doing exactly what you were doing before. It's hey, do you want to have more responsibility and be more a part of the company?
Yeah, it's a
Because obviously,
relationship.
if
It's
somebody's going to be
absolutely a
doubling
relationship.
your income, then I would gladly give you more money. If it's that's a great
Yeah,
return on investment.
yeah.
So
I
then,
think it's also though like starting to. It's not just about the paycheck that you get.
right.
Like compensation and value can look a lot of different ways. It can be equity in the business. It can be a sort of profit sharing. It can like again, I think small businesses at this point, we have to change traditionally how it works about getting like a bunch of money dumped in, having shareholders, and then like just doing as much profit as they. I don't think that, I guess that model can work. It doesn't work for me. I think you build a brand by investing in your people. And,
Hmm.
that they say they want to raise. I may not be able to give you a raise yet, but what if we did this? What if we did XYZ? What do you think about that? And then it's a conversation. This is another thing that it's always interesting when people come and, you talk about money. You talk about, when you're hiring them for the first time or you are, trying to negotiate a raise. I think that as much of that ambiguity as you can remove, the better. And I think that it has to be a conversation, not a negotiation. I I, I think that just for instance, if one of my employees said, "Hey, I'm making 100K, I really think that I should be making 125. My response is great. I would love for you to be able, if it makes sense for the business and for everyone, I would love for you to make that money. What can we do? What is that going to look like? What do you like for you to feel really good in your heart about making that much or whatever it is? What do you think should be in place? What metrics, what results, what whatever? And then what are some tangible things? I like it to be things that can be done in no more than 3 months. If it's more than 3 months, people, it's too intangible. So my thing is, if you come and ask me for something and I don't think you're quite there yet, I want you to get there within 3 months. Whether that's adding, it could be a million different things, but then it's a conversation that both people are bought in on. And then it doesn't feel like you're this big employer dangling the carrot and trying to like weirdly manipulate, and like that doesn't work. I want my people to make as much money as they possibly can. And if we can grow that together, and then you have to be very transparent, let people look at the numbers. Let people look at, this is the program that like you're running right now. This is how you fit in. These are all of these other things. People, this is another thing that I challenge. Like, people care about, like, if you give them the opportunity, they care about the business. They understand what they're asking for. And I think the more you let people in and have it be a conversation and where you're both working towards the same thing, you're not on one side and the other side, people make more money, the business makes more money, everybody is happier, you don't have the turnover in team, and you're growing your business in ways that you probably would not have done because you would not have been open to even having that conversation.
When you were saying like having people make sure they're not rubbing heads, bringing people on, I always again advise our clients that like having somebody being a part of the team is so much more valuable than having somebody come in to be an input, right? So say, hey, come over. I'm delegating and I'm trusting you with this. They feel a part of the team. You're letting them, as you said, see numbers and stuff like that, making them feel like how can we grow, and that they want to help grow. They feel a part of it, and then having opportunities where they can grow with the company so much better than just having somebody come in and say, hey, put in this input. That's all you're good for is this input. And when you're done with that input, you go home. I can only pay you so much for that input, at the end of the day, right? And that's just such a sluggish, in my opinion, just not the way to go about it. Having that like team though, where you're like, hey, you're a part of the team. How can we do better? Right?
Mhm.
Having those conversations. I think meetings are great. A lot of people don't like meetings. I always advise, please have more meetings, have those conversations. Make sure you, as the owner or the biggest voice in the room, is the last to speak. That's something Jeff Bezos said. Is he's always during meetings and stuff like that. He's always the last one to speak. That way, everybody feels comfortable saying their opinion, and then he's the last one. Versus if he was the first one to say his opinion on a topic, everybody else would be like, "Oh yeah, I agree with Jeff Bezos," and they
Yeah.
wouldn't really put in their input. So, but yeah, I think like meetings for just like profit and relationship growth, health of a company, so good. I love that, and I love that you're doing that. I think that's great.
Yeah. I think you can't not do it these days. I think it's just it needs to be so ingrained into the business. And I think it's one of those things where we love to talk about it. I think it's really easy to talk about being inclusive, or really easy to talk about like, but you have to work it into every day, every meeting, every conversation, every interaction, every email. Like, I really go back to, how do I do this in a way that is respectful and kind and collaborative? And if I was in their position, what would I want my boss to say to me here?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a good example is like, oh yeah, be quick to fail. It's okay to fail. Most people don't fail in a good way, I think.
Mm.
Again, it's one of those things when we have a new person on the team and they, am I allowed to cuss on this, by the way?
Oh, yeah, man, that's fine.
Okay. Um, when somebody will come and like they fuck something up for the first time. And
Hmm.
to me, it's really interesting to see how people handle that. Because like one of the first things I say is like, you're gonna mess it up. It's okay. My thing is acknowledge it, own it, and then move forward. You're not gonna get punished. You're not like it doesn't matter. My biggest thing is learn from it. Own it. Own that like you had this much power in this situation. Maybe you needed more information. Maybe it was a time, like whatever it is, and let's move on. And it's always interesting the first few times to see how they respond and then what they anticipate getting back. Um,
Mm.
it's really telling if somebody starts making excuses or they start, trying to change and reframe the situations, like it, if it's anything other than like, yeah, like I fucked it up and I learned this, like I think I'm going to change this in the future. That's how you work well on my team. If you start blaming other people, if you start trying to like gaslight me into thinking that, oh, this was actually the goal, not that, um, you're not going to last long on my team. And I think that's
No.
something that like when you talk about hiring or firing or letting people go, there are situations when it is the best for everyone for this person to leave. We typically do a 3 month probationary period when somebody starts with us. I think that that's enough time to kind of see how people are, see how they engage with the team. Um, and I think as somebody who I'm learning in all of this. This is the first time that I'm building a brand like this. It's the first time that I'm hiring people like this. And especially when you have such like a close knit group that when you add someone, it's a big deal. And so to get rid of them is an even bigger deal. But, over the past few months, we've had a few people leave our team, not in any sort of negative way, but it wasn't working. They were not able to step into the role. They were not able to handle the results or the feedback. Um, and that was a conversation. It was like, hey, I don't think this is going to work. You don't seem happy. And I want you to be happy. I don't want anybody on my team feeling like they are overworked or underappreciated. And there's a disconnect here. So it was a really good conversation. This person decided to resign because that's what was best. It was sad. It was the absolute best thing for the business and for the team. When you as the leader, right? There are times when there'll be a situation or sometimes it's just the person or it's a weird situation that's happening and for me it's really stressful, to have some aspect of my team that is not working and that is not in line with who we are as a brand and as a company and how we work together. Um, and I think leaders need to be quick to address it. I don't let things sit for long on my team like that. If it's there and there's a disconnect or there is a miscommunication or I don't let it sit. You handle it immediately because I think that's kind of the cancer that can start. And sometimes that means like splitting ways with a team member. But I think it's your duty as the owner or the team lead or whatever it
Hmm.
is to constantly pay attention to that. And if you
Mm.
start to see trends and things arising that are not in line with what you're trying to do, you have to address it. And if it can't be
Hmm.
changed, that might require that you get rid of that person. And being
Hmm.
quick to do that.
Yeah.
There have been times where I waited too long. I was too nervous or I felt like I owed this person something
Yeah. Yeah.
but then when you think about the team as a whole and other team members are starting to say, hey, this is affecting me now, you can't let it get there. And I think as
Yeah.
a leader, you need to trust your gut and really act on behalf of your team and the business and kind of set whatever personal feelings you have aside.
Yeah, yeah. Firing people is never fun, or letting them go, the better term for it. And it's one of those, as you said, sometimes it's just best for the company. And but what I've found a lot is people hold on to people for personal, oh man, I've known this guy for 5 years,
Exactly.
which is a long time. Or 10 years. I met this one guy for 15 years. They had a relationship. I'm like, this person is not right for this position. You were paying them too much. They're not getting the outputs. And they're like, no, no. They're like, good family friends, which I think is fine. And I think there's a happy balance. It's like if it's worth it to you, and because at the end of the day, it's not all profit. If that relationship is more worth it to you, um, for having that like little toxic person in that one spot that should not be there, but if that relationship's worth it to you, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what life's all about is relationships, in my opinion. And
Yep.
money, you're not taking it with you, but relationships, that's, you know, I just think the most important thing,
Yep. And I
generational.
think like you can still be committed to this person's success in their career without them working for your company. There was a situation a few months ago where um, this person ended up not needing it, but a good friend of mine, um, it wasn't working, and we had several months of kind of talking about it, and it came time where like it needed to happen, like we needed to split. But then I know this person, I know all these great things about them that I think could be really great in this role. So I helped this person update their resume. I helped them like do some cover letters. I was asking around in different businesses and industries where I thought she would be a tremendous asset. Um, and I think that's something that we should be more comfortable doing.
Mm,
I think like legally and with HR, like I know there's all these things you can and can't do, things you can and can't say, but I wish brands, I think this is a prime opportunity where you can really support someone, even if you're letting them go. It doesn't have to be this like terrible thing all around. Offer them some career coaching. Make sure that they have the tools and assets. If you feel
yeah.
comfortable and able to write them a reference letter in some way, be authentic. But
Mhm.
I think it's fair to say somebody might not be right for my brand in this position right here. I think they would be great in this position over here, and supporting them in that, checking up on them. All of my past people I go back to, I talk to. Um, it's a little weird sometimes, but I think brands could be much better about that.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think that's so good. Well, let's talk, because I mean, we could talk all day about that. Let's talk about the weights here. I'm curious. So you were telling me that Target is trying to kind of duplicate some of your products. How are your products unique, and how are you in the future? You were telling me about how you're going to make it that, yeah, try to copy me now.
So before I started with WeGym, my experience was mostly in service-based industries. So launching products with WeGym and developing them and manufacturing them has been one of the coolest. Like I will nerd out on this stuff for so long. It's so interesting. Um, yeah, I think in this process you learn, especially if you're shopping on Amazon or some of these other kind of drop ship things, that it's all the same product. Like a brand will launch a product and all they've done is go take a pre-existing product. They might change the color, they slap their logo on it, and there you go. Not to say that that's always wrong, but I think when it came time for us to start making products, we were very clear that we wanted them to be innovative. We wanted them to be high quality. We wanted them to be beautiful. And we were not going to like accept anything less than that. So for reference, in 2024, we interviewed over 150 manufacturers to find the absolute best ones to produce our products. Each product, and sometimes even different components of it, will be produced by several different manufacturers. And the way that we do it is, we have our first tier, like best one, then we have kind of a second backup, and then we have a third. What we typically do is we keep about 80% of production with the tier number one, and we keep around 20% split between the second and the third. That way, if anything were to ever happen with number one, two and three are there and ready to go. And if we need it, we have a four
Mm,
and a five. So I think that's a big piece to start off with, is making
mm,
sure that as far as manufacturing goes, you have a plan. You know exactly who you're working with, and you know the other half of our team is based in Shenzhen, China, and it's about 15 people there who are the absolute like industry leading experts when it comes to product development and logistics and manufacturing. Because of this, we are able to do 100% quality inspections. Every piece of gear that we produce gets looked at by a member of our team, not the manufacturer of our team, which again it's unheard of. Um, so that's kind of just like the quality control aspect. When it comes to product design and kind of like proprietary information and products, it's like the Wild West. Like just because you have a patent or just because you have a trademark, you better believe people are still out there producing it. And so then it becomes like, how do you protect to a reasonable extent what, these unique aspects to products that you really want to be able to maintain? We've spent millions of dollars designing and developing these products. And this, I joke a lot that this is the one area where WeGym, we are absolute sharks about. We do not tolerate people infringing on our proprietary designs. We have typically 2 to 5 lawsuits going at any given moment because people are trying to take what we've developed. And it's not just about like, you can't have that, that's ours. What we don't like is that people will go out there and take it and produce much cheaper, bad versions of it. And to
mm,
us, it's like you're really diluting the best piece of what this product is designed to do.
right.
Um, we're clear that as far as quality and materials, we are able to do this in a way that no other business our size is doing. I don't know of any brand out there our size that has the manufacturing and product design capabilities that we have. For reference, we developed our safe grip dumbbells, completely custom product. A lot of um, different features and dimensions and stuff that like nobody else was doing. We launched it, and in under a year, we completely redesigned the product and launched a whole new product. We still have our safe grip dumbbells, but as soon as we launched it, we were making it better. As soon
Mm,
as we launched it, we were developing that next generation. Um, and we're constantly updating and changing, and we're launching bangles soon, that like the things that go around
right.
your wrist. It's like a little bit of a weight. And for a good 8 months, we've been working on this design, and like this is how we thought it could look, and it was kind of similar to what other people were doing. And then one of our designers was like, I have a crazy idea. completely redesigned it in a way that was something you would never, ever seen for a bangle design. And it's amazing. And we're going to move forward with it. We're going to put it into production.
Wow.
Um,
Do you have any
but
products you can show us for those who are
yeah,
watching?
so our best seller, this is our Safe Grip dumbbell. This is 12 pounds. Um, a really cool product. It's very simple, but the simplicity is, I think, what makes it super cool. So first off is the grip. So most dumbbells, you would have a good more inch. It's a really long handle, and you don't want that because when you go to turn the weight, if it's over here, the center of gravity is way too long, and it kind of forces your hand always trying to put one down. So first off, it's very balanced. The handle is um, developed so you can actually hold on to it. We have our safe grip coating, which this is one of those products you just kind of have to hold it. It's hard to describe what it feels like. It's a type of PVC. Um, and then it has square sides. So if you're doing a push up or anything that requires stability, your dumbbell is not rolling. Um, so this has been our viral kind of best selling product. We have weights 2 to 20, and they come with a kind of space saving tower rack. I can send you some like assets if you want to like drop any of those in with any of this. And then
Yeah,
our
yeah. Send me all the stuff. I'll put it all in the description, whatever
yeah,
you want
and
to
this is
link.
our other. This is one of the first products we launched. It's a soft kettlebell. So
Mm.
this part is soft. It has steel, sand, and air in it. So
Wow.
these you can drop on your floor, drop on your feet, drop on your kid. It's not going to hurt them. The handles are wider than normal kettlebells. This is our smallest one, so the handle's a little bit smaller, but most you can fit two hands on it, so you can
Mm.
actually hold on to it. And this is super grippy. So like even when you're sweaty, you're swinging it, it's not going to go flying out of your hand. And if it does, it's not going to hurt anything. So virtually indestructible. You can drop them. Yeah, one of those things. Again, we wanted to be safe for the home, and then there. This is our color family sandstone. We have.
Oh yeah, very cool.
We also have rose, forest, and slate. Um,
So what technology from those do people try to take?
so for a lot of it is in the coding. So like
Mm.
the coding of our safe grip, and just the dimensions. It looks very simple, but a lot of time went into the size of this square, the width of the square, the width of the handle, um, the size of this part. It took a really long time to get it dialed in. It's all about the ergonomics of it and being able to have it be comfortable and something that you can. These are designed to be thrown around, moved overhead, all over. It has to be balanced. Um, so the product design is a big one. They'll try and like um, the kettlebells, for instance. So the kettlebells, we do not have any proprietary, patent or trademark on. They say it's too similar to other ones that you can't get it. So we create our own molds. We customized it, but it wasn't different enough because you can't make them that different. But I mean, like you mentioned, we found out that one of our manufacturers that had done our soft. You can just set it down. Yeah, you can just set it down there. Sorry, it's delivery.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, we found that one of our manufacturers was working with Target, and I don't know if we can include this in here. I'll let you know if we can. But Target was going to use our molds to start launching their fitness equipment, which I loved. because we have just redesigned our kettlebells. They'll be out in 3 weeks to where they're 50% smaller. So the one complaint with these is that they're about twice as big, like a regular 10-pound dumbbell. This is about twice as big. We found a way to keep it soft, but make it the same size as a traditional kettlebell. We're about to launch it. So I was like, all right, Target, please launch your product. And then right after that, we're going to come in and we're going to launch ours. Um, Interestingly, and a fun twist, even since I've talked to you last, we had initially applied to be in Target and they gave us an immediate no. And then we found out that they were going to manufacture their own stuff, yada, yada, yada. But with everything going on, I think with tariffs, with kind of the uncertainty right now, I think they stopped because a few days ago they came back and approved us. So now we're actually launching in Target our full range of product.
Wow. Wow. That's a big deal.
Starting with .com, not in store yet, but .com is really where the magic happens. So it's interesting, and I think I'm so curious about how brands have handled this whole. I know the tariffs are kind of coming down, but how brands handled that situation.
Hmm.
I saw a lot of brands being very reactionary to it and doing all these big sales and kind of using it to. It just felt a little slimy to me. Brands were using it to move this inventory and to get this, and um, I'm curious. We're a lot of our stuff coming in got held up, and so we import our stuff. Um, And I think retail in general over the past 6 months was almost at a standstill. At the beginning of the year, major brands, a lot of them are doing reorgs, but Kohl's, Macy's, Nordstrom, big box like Sam's Club and Costco, they all were like kind of froze. And just over the past month or two, they've really started to open back up again. I think it's because there's some product shortages going on, especially with weights. Weight is interesting because it all comes down to shipping. It's very
Mm.
challenging and expensive to ship heavy products.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna
Um,
get to that too, because that's a known thing. That's like a big drop shipping 101, is the weight
it's
of the
a
item and the
it's a
size.
it's a constant beast. We're in the process of really doing an overhaul on our order fulfillment. We work with a company. Um, we have two warehouses, one in New Jersey and one in California, and then we have our gear in all of the Amazon warehouses as well. But we're launching much heavier equipment. We're launching 50-pound dumbbells, which you buy in a set. So you're
Hmm.
going to have a box that's may only
100
be this
pounds.
big, but it's 100 pounds. And
Right.
usually you're ordering it as a part of a set. So you're also getting a 45-pound pair, 40-pound, 35, 30. You're potentially ordering 1,000 pounds worth of weights, depending on what all you're going to get. And so how do you make that happen? What does that look like? We're also launching our Pro collection, which means brands are going to be buying those in bulk. How do you fulfill an order with 20, 50-pound pairs of dumbbells? Um, it's a huge ask. It's because you have all the classic problems that you just have when you're shipping. So packaging, damages, it gets lost. So you're dealing with that, but then you're adding this whole layer of complication when it comes to the weight. And it's one thing that is a huge advantage for us. And so, when we look at the fitness industry, um, I think I shared with you about this before, but we don't think of brands as competitors. We have peers. So we think we're stronger together. And so it comes towards to like sharing resources. How do we both come into this and bring something to the table, um, that supports your business, it supports ours. Our biggest advantage is that we are able to develop and customize products and have them manufactured. We can create a fully custom product and have it in our hands ready to fulfill orders in 6 months if we need to. That is unheard of. That does not happen.
And I
And
know we've talked a lot about how you have this unheard of thing. So just people understand, tell us a little bit about your business partner and how she's able to
yeah,
just get this all done in general. Because otherwise, it's like you're talking magic here. I'm like, okay, how are
yeah.
how are you doing all this?
Yeah, so my business partner, her name is Cami. She founded the company. One of the most incredible humans I've ever met. Absolutely brilliant. She's about 3'2". She's like the tiniest woman ever. Um, she's become a tremendous, like one of my best friends in this process. I mean, just one of those people that you have this immediately like soul connection with. Anyway, her background, she built a $1 billion microchip technology company from the like they started in a garage, and she built this incredibly successful, um, amazing business with her husband. Um, and they do, it's a lot in logistics and manufacturing. It's a lot of government agency work. They're working with Nissan and Boeing and big, big brands. And once she got that to a good enough point, she gave it to her husband, which I think is the funniest thing in the world. She goes, "Here, honey, like you can be the CEO now." She's a boss bitch. She's amazing. And then she wanted to do something. She wanted something that she could feel like was her legacy. And she had all of this experience in manufacturing and product design. She had industry leading engineers and um, developers and for this other business. And she thought, well, what if we take this? What if we take everything we know and all of these strengths that we have and the fact that they're based in Shenzhen, China, and let's see what we can do with it. Um, and so she's really, her and her team are kind of the magic sauce here of, you know, being so tremendously skilled at, creating those first visions of what the product is, that we have an amazing rendering team and they'll create these renderings of this product that we kind of thought up. And then we're just able to very quickly move through the process because we have boots on the ground with our manufacturers. And we're working, again, we interviewed 150 manufacturers. This year, I think it'll be close to 250 manufacturers because we're launching new products. We find the absolute best people who can source the best materials. They have the most state of the art method because all these manufacturers have a different way of doing everything. The end product is the same, but everyone kind of has their own process. So we're just constantly analyzing that and finding how do we make it better? How do we make it more efficient? Um, and so being able to take a product, design it, 3D print it, then do a 2 to 10 rounds of prototypes with the manufacturer, get it into mass production, do quality inspections, freight it from China to here, get it through customs, and then get it distributed to our different warehouses, and then getting it fulfilled. That process, if I was just here going to, let's say I want to develop a custom product. I'm trying to work with a manufacturer. Most things are produced outside of the US. So whether it's in Mexico or Vietnam or China, there's a language barrier. You're trying to get this, this product thing off the ground, especially if it's different than something that is already out there. And then having them produce it, send it to you. It's a prototype. And let's say you do that a couple times, finally get it how you want it. You place your mass order. It's very, very common that when you get your like mass produced order, the quality and design is drastically different than what you've gotten when you are prototyping it. So now you end up with a product that is not up to your standards, but there's not really anything you can do about it. It's a huge investment of time, it's a huge investment of money, and then it's a tremendous risk if you are not happy with it. And then on the other side is, let's say you do move forward with it and you sell it. Sorry, my cat is attacking a bag. Let's say you do move forward with it and you sell it, then are you making it better? Are you going back and like trying to improve it? And so that whole process, it's a nightmare. If you talk to small brands who are custom producing products, it is the
Such a
biggest
nightmare. Yeah.
pain point that they have. It is daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, we can prototype it there. We have our team. We test everything ourselves. Everything goes through our rigorous standards. It's a huge advantage. And so when, we have brands that come to us, there's a big shift happening right now, and that, especially in women's health, things like Pilates, yoga, bar, it's shifting towards strength. So there's a bunch of new research coming out showing that women need to strength train. And so all of this like low intensity, low impact stuff, they're starting to incorporate strength training and strength products into their programming. And they want to be able to have a quality product. They want to be able to say, hey, these are the dumbbells you should get. This is a kettlebell you should get. But to go and develop your own line of custom kettlebells or dumbbells is going to cost you millions of dollars and 2 to 4 years. And so something that we're very open to doing is collaborations. And it's something that it allows, for the other brand, they're able to get an incredible quality product. We allow them the opportunity to pick their color. We will co-brand it, so it'll have their name and our name on it as a formal collaboration. And then you get our entire manufacturing and logistics advantage. We will have it produced. We will do the inspections. We will have it packaged. We will import it for you. If you don't have your own, order fulfillment warehouse, we will drop ship it for you. You don't have to worry about incredibly heavy weights. We've already negotiated to get the best possible shipping rates out there on a heavy product. There's just so many aspects of it that get removed. And I think this is something that I really hope, and we're already seeing it. We're collabing with some really big brands. I can't share them yet, but
Oh man, I was gonna say, can you
well,
shout them
so
out?
we're working pretty closely with Pvolve, which is Jennifer Aniston's
Mm-hmm.
brand. We have
It's awesome.
they they really promote our dumbbells for their strength training. We're in conversations for some other things, but yeah, I hope it's something that, and not just in the fitness world, but like in business in general. I think industries are better when brands are aligned. And if it's something that, you know, you're a different brand than us, but we're clear that like we know exactly who we are. We know exactly where we fit into the industry, and we're very confident in that. And so we love to celebrate other brands. And if we can do that in a collaboration where we both bring the best of what we both have to the table, there's plenty to go around. There is no reason why brands need to be at each other. And like, I truly don't believe that. The fitness industry is a booming industry. There's enough to go around. And again, like it's good for business. The amount of like new clients and community members and sales that we've done because we do these, it's a piece of what allows us to grow exponentially. Um, and I really hope it's something that we can really build out. We're clear that we're not going to just allow someone to come in like we'll build in their own custom product. It has to be a product that we're offering, but being able to leverage what we have to grow, I really hope it's something that brands will work with us on, but then everyone else, like work together. It makes sense. It's good for a business.
I love that. So you're saying that your guys' goal is to be the number one in your industry. Who do you think is the number one right now? And how do
Oh
you plan
gosh.
on surpassing them?
I don't know that nobody's doing what we do. We have, people out there who you can compare us to, but nobody is approaching fitness and product design and training and education and professional development like we are. Um, there are certainly brands that we look up to who we think are really great at what they do. Um,
Like who?
Ball is a great one. We
Mhm.
love P-Volve. I think there are, when it comes to like product, I'm very inspired by Rogue. I think, it's a totally different kind of version of fitness from us, but I love the precision that they apply to all of their products.
Mm,
You're getting a high quality product when you order it from Rogue.
true.
Um,
When you
and then
guys
there's
mentioned the 50-pound weights, that made me think of Rogue, and I was like, are you guys going to get into like bumpers? Are you guys going to get into like like
yeah.
very fancy high-end
So
CrossFit?
yeah, that's actually we've been meeting on this over the past week. Our next nobody knows this, but our next generation of products is going to be barbells, bumper plates, and racks.
Wow, super
So
excited about
we're
that.
we're just we launch our um, we launch our Pro Series products in a couple weeks. Um, that has been a tremendous undertaking for our product design and kind of manufacturing team, but it's coming to an end. And so, we haven't even launched it yet. And we're going, all right, what's next? And so I just ordered a bunch of prototypes of barbells, bumper plates, stuff like that. I love to look at what other people are doing. What are you doing? How are you setting yourself apart? And then how do we kind of take the best of everything and then put our stamp on it? We already have a few things that I don't think other people are doing with barbells that we want to incorporate into ours. Um, and I think like a big piece of who we are, and we're a very female focused brand. Um, Traditionally, especially in strength equipment, it is made for men. And so when you start looking at, again, like the width and size of a handle, the material, the width of like a pull up bar, like there's all of these things that were designed for men. And so everything we do, every product we design runs through the filter of like, how is this inclusive to women as well? We're not only for women, but women have a seat at the table, maybe the first seat at the table when it comes to how we approach product development and brand development. Um, we're all about creating spaces and products that are safe and inclusive of women.
Yeah.
I'm giving a speech in a few weeks, and I was looking at the buying power of women and how much of like from a business perspective how much buying power they have, and yet they're typically an afterthought when it comes to product development and design. And that has to change.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, that's almost a niche because there's a lot of strength training women out there, a lot of girls that do CrossFit, but there's
mhm.
not, a lot of the equipment that they use is men's equipment or aimed towards men, red
Yep.
and manly and rugged.
Black
Um,
and like
yeah.
metal and yeah. So
Yeah, but I was even thinking like that cool coating you have there on a bumper plate that's like, the sandy or
yep.
rose gold kind of look. I'm sure that would have a really good audience with the girls to have like really cool, pretty equipment. That's
Yep.
a whole untapped market, and nobody can really get into that unless they have the manufacturing power.
Well,
But I guess
and
if you start
yep.
doing it, Rogue might be like, "Oh, these guys are onto something." And
I hope they do. Honestly,
yeah,
I hope that like this. I hope that what we're doing will inspire other brands to follow suit. Women need to have a seat at the table. Our even like with the contractors and everybody, our team is like 98% female. And I'm a gay man. We have people of different nationalities, cultures, ethnicities, and I think it's important when you're developing these products and doing all this to be inclusive. And again, like I think it's, Pride Month is coming to an end. It's easy to be like, "Oh, we're an inclusive brand." But like look at your leadership team. Look at look at who you have in your company. Look at the type of brands and people you attract. Is it inclusive? You know? And making sure that as we do things, people who may have traditionally be underrepresented have a seat at the table. And again, like this isn't some woo woo make you feel good thing. It is good for business.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a
People,
niche. Nobody's doing it right now, and
well,
they
and
have money to buy.
they want
Yeah.
to align themselves with brands that they feel good about.
True.
Like look at all
True.
these movements
Yeah.
about people boycotting brands or really like investing in small business. Like people want to feel good about where their money's going and
Mm-hmm.
brands that they publicly align themselves with or that they display in their home. And I think it's good for business. I think that women, I don't remember the exact stat, but like they account for the majority of like purchases made in a family's life. And this is like down to homes and cars and stuff like that. They are the largest group of, professional instructors.
Mm-hmm.
They represent so much and yet are so underrepresented. And then it gets down to things like clinical research. I make the joke like we know more about erections than we do about like pregnancy from a research perspective.
Really?
Um, if you look at like how even in the medical industry, how research is done, how standards are done, many people don't know that drugs like dosages and stuff are based off of the man's body. And so, like, women are often not getting the proper dosage, they're not getting the proper medication,
Yep. Yep.
um, down to things like the test dummies for cars are a man's body. So
Mm-hmm.
then, like, something happens, it hasn't been tested for a woman. It may seem insignificant, but I think that when you talk about in this day and age creating a brand that people can relate to and that people want to see themselves in your brand, then you have to actually do that. So we will also in the next, coming years invest, I'm hoping, millions of dollars into clinical research and partnerships and development specifically for women's health. We
Mm-hmm.
work with pelvic floor experts. We are having several rounds of pregnancy and postpartum workouts recorded for our mobile app. Um, and we have a bunch of other things planned for like how to get back, after you've had surgery, or like what does exercise during your cycle look like? Um, Prioritizing women every step of the way. And I think it's good business. I
Mm-hmm.
think this will support us in growing tremendously.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good. Not a lot. Good niche. Blue ocean right there. So much good. So are you guys primarily D2C? You guys doing online? Are you guys on Amazon? How do you
Yeah,
sell your
so
product?
currently, we have Shopify, so we have our website. We're on Amazon, Macy's, Nordstrom. We're launching in a few like boutique marketplaces. That's a thing that's popping up now, which I think is really cool. This one's called Hayek House, I think. Um, and we just got accepted into Target. We are launching in one of the big box retailers. I can't tell you who yet, but we're launching it with the big box retailers. Um, and then we're expanding globally. So in the next month, we will launch in Australia. After that, we're going to Japan,
Nice.
Singapore, UK, and Germany. That's just this year. And then next year, it'll be a whole other slew of of countries that we're going to. We have our mobile app. Um, primarily right now we're D2C, because we're a home fitness brand, but we're repositioning ourselves currently to be, again, a professionals brand. And so we are investing quite a bit right now to, be the leader in commercial fitness spaces as far as gear and training and all
Mm.
of that. So
So your goal is retail, commercial spaces right now where you're making
yeah,
most of your money.
it's a big piece of yeah, of what we're developing. And then once we get this next round launched, um, really investing, like I said, in instructors, into education and our mobile app, um, creating a framework where people can come to WeGym and monetize their passion and have a career in fitness because of the tools and resources and opportunities that we're able to provide.
Mm, that's awesome. How much did you guys do in your first year, if you want me to ask?
Yeah. um, so 2023, we did less than 500,000. I think it was like 470 something. Um, 2024, we did around 3 million. And this year we'll do about 16 million. 2026 we'll do 50 million, and
Mm.
then 2027 we will do 100 million. So it's funny. I think about last year, like I had 2 team members,
Well, you
nobody really
4x
knew.
from last year though. That's huge jump.
Yeah, and we're, not to brag, but we're about 15 to 20% over all of our sales goals each month. And we do very little advertising. We have not had paid ads running in about 5 months.
So
And
that's
so,
all retail?
no, the majority of it's on our website. We have
Really?
people, we have a vibrant affiliate program that point people to our website. We have,
Okay.
um, organically, we're doing really well. We have, it's a small but mighty Instagram following of people who are consuming our content. So, our model is like, get people in with our business and get to know us. Our products, I think about them more like furniture than I do workout equipment.
That's smart. Yeah. For
It
women too, especially if it's going to
yeah,
be in the
like,
home. You don't want, because that's like my thing with my wife. I was like, I want to buy more. I was like, wanted to buy a whole setup thing. And she's like, that's so ugly. You can't have that in the garage, you
mhm,
know? And I'm like, so then having something that she would be like, oh, wow, oh, I'd work out with that too, because
yep,
she's doing the strength training. She did all that whole postpartum stuff too after
mhm,
we had our son, getting back into it and stuff like that. She did her Pilates and then
yeah,
wrist things, and then now she's like, "Oh, John, strength." When you were saying that too, she was telling me like, "Oh, strength training. I gotta build lean muscle mass." And
yeah,
a lot of the things the women are afraid of getting like huge, and I'm like, man, you have to. Some of these women are taking steroids, and you have to be
yeah,
training for years to get to that level. You're not gonna like wake up in the morning and be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm bigger than my husband," you know.
yeah. And
So,
I mean, that's a as we focus on education, and we're very clear about, when we talk about our bodies or we talk about all these things, again, it's a very inclusive way of talking about it. But I think to address the, women don't want to get ripped, it's a really, I didn't realize how common that was. That was
mhm,
a pretty common thread, like a fear for women. um, and the reality is, like, it's just not what's going to happen. You will see muscle definition. You will certainly, notice a difference. But I think we also need to understand that a strong body is a beautiful body.
mhm,
That
mhm,
this idea that, like, women can't be strong, I think we need to challenge that. I mean,
mhm.
funnily enough, like, my background is in photo and video production, so I shoot all of the content for all of the photos, everything that you see on our website. It's all me, all the lifestyle stuff. So I get to work with, models and different fitness influencers and stuff. And it's been so cool to see such a range of a range of people. You know, I did a shoot in Utah earlier this year, and this woman, I mean, she was beautiful and like was fucking ripped. And like just like she was I was like, I've never seen somebody that looks like you. And I think it's amazing. I think giving people the space to like do what you're gonna do, you know? Like, have fun with it, put it out there. I think it's important, and I think it's a big piece of women's health, you know? We were, you know, for reference, a few months ago, um, our dumbbells were featured kind of in the behind this actor in a Skims Kim Kardashian commercial. We had no idea it was happening, but you know, our dumbbells looked nice. I think they wanted the set to look nice. They put our dumbbells in there. We had no idea. It gets posted. All of a sudden, we had tons of people messaging our Instagram page, like, "Oh my God, I saw you in the Skims thing." And it was interesting because some people were like, "That's so cool! Like, that's huge for you guys," because they know we're a small brand. But then other people were really upset about it. You know, I can't
Mhm.
believe that you would put yourself in, you know, something like that that is all about like changing a woman's body. And you know, people had a lot of strong opinions about it because it's shapewear, you know, and the whole thing was like how to get that look without doing squats and stuff in the gym. I
Mhm.
think was the ad, but which we have no like, if you want to wear shapewear and it makes you feel good, great, do it. But it was really interesting to see that people are paying attention. And I think like as a small brand, you tend to think that largely a lot of what you do goes unnoticed. Um, they were paying attention. We had no idea. We found out because people started messaging us. But then people were very crystal clear on like who we are as a brand. Like you'll never hear us talking about getting your summer body. You'll never hear us prioritizing losing weight. Um, Not that like that can't be a piece of what motivates somebody, but we're about being healthy and being strong and meeting you where you're at. And it was interesting to see when people thought we were deviating from that, how like it really affected them. I mean,
Mm.
for you to
Mhm.
go, we weren't tagged in it. They had to go search out our brand, type up a message, put something very personal about them in it, and then send it to us, and
Mhm.
then engage in a conversation back and forth with our social media manager. Um, it was interesting, you know, to see how much this
Yeah.
really affects like the psyche of our community members and how they're paying attention, and they
Mm.
were crystal clear on who we are and did not like it when they thought we were approaching it with any less depth and inclusivity and compassion. So
Yeah. And that's so interesting. And not that to just generalize, but girls tend to be um, more involved emotionally into something versus guys can. This and again, this is not objective, but more about the numbers. So like when it comes to fitness equipment, it's like, okay, how much is it per pound per weight? Right?
mhm,
Am I spending? And the girls are like, yeah, I want to. This Lululemon stands for something, or this is the style, this is the vibe, and this is kind of what I'm going with. And so you really got to be careful, with a woman's brand. I feel like, especially trying to get big, to be who are you catering to, because you're going to be either shutting off some other people,
yep.
attracting certain people. People get a lot more emotional about posts, you know,
Mhm.
and
It's
which
a
can be a huge asset.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been like kind of mind blowing to me to see how supportive our community is. Like I'll say, for instance, we do WeGym summits like 3 or 4 times a year, and the last one we did in Utah. So we had a lot of our team members there, and our main instructor, her name is Whitney. She's based in Salt Lake, and from that, she's very connected in the fitness community, and so a lot of our affiliates live in Salt Lake, and I'm talking about almost 20 of them. And so while we were there on our summit, we had this like big Airbnb that we'd rented. We hosted an affiliate lunch one day, and it was close to 15. people, I think, that came like just in from that area. And it was cool. We all got to mingle and just, um, see people that I'd never met in person. And then, we shared a little bit about where we're going as a brand with education, with our professional products, with all of this. And the everybody, their response was like, we love it. How do we help? How do we help you make this happen? And I think
Hmm.
that's how we will approach brand growth. And where are we investing our resources? Where are we investing our time and energy is in a vision that's not just ours, but it's shared, because for people, having a brand that promotes, a positive body image, a realistic and attainable version of fitness, and finds a way to make it simple and accessible in your daily life, like they want that. They want that for their friends. They want that for their kids or their mom. And so,
Hmm.
and then just to have a brand doing something that they can stand behind that makes them feel good. Um, it's amazing how much community support there is
I love
when
that. Yeah.
you kind of prioritize the needs and wants of the
Hmm.
community. We're very much influenced by that. We have changed products. We have, I mean, there's so much that we have changed simply because our community gave us feedback and we
Hmm.
chose to listen.
Mm. I love that. I love that. And then so with that too, I mean, so you guys 16 million this year. That's awesome for only being 2 years old, pretty much 2 to 3 years old. That is phenomenal. Again, unheard of. But connections that you have with your business partner, the founder, and just you as a you just seem like you know what you're doing, right? You're killing it. You guys surrounding yourself with a good team. It's about relationships and stuff. So 16 million, that's awesome. And so next year, what was your goal?
50 million
50 million next year. So how
next
are
year.
you going to do that? Target or
A big piece of it is expanding globally.
so you said you're
Uh,
doing that in a year or this year?
Within the next 6 months, we will
Okay.
launch in Australia, Japan, Singapore, UK, and Germany. That will be a big piece is, getting WeGym into new markets. We're also launching new products and I don't know yet because we haven't launched it yet, but I think our professional collection of products, I think is going to redefine our business.
Mm,
They're incredible. They're just incredible products. We've spent over a year really perfecting them. And so, we're launching them at a big conference in Sacramento in a few weeks. So it'll be the first time that we're getting kind of industry feedback. But, we're prioritizing fitness and strength spaces that, again, are inclusive to women and that are beautiful. When it comes time to creating your fitness space for your gym or your studio, we think you shouldn't have to sacrifice and have your equipment detracting from what you're trying to create. We want the equipment to help you elevate your space and have it be high quality and have it be more durable. We our products aren't old enough for us to have the exact data yet, but we're working with a gym right now that they have to replace their like 2 and 3 pound dumbbells once a year because they just get destroyed. But
mm.
I mean, we are very confident that ours are going to last at minimum 2 to 3 years. And so, yeah, when it comes time to growing, we are going to keep developing products. We're going to keep adding elements to our business, and just continuing to scale everything. I mean, the
Mm.
US is a huge market, and we are just scratching the surface of it. Um, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. It's
That's awesome.
working.
Yeah. When you guys are going globally, what's your goal? Is it to get into retails for like Australia and Germany, or are you going to do online?
So when we launch in new countries, we're going to use Amazon as our gateway in. And there's a few reasons for that. So number one, you
This is
can,
gold. Tell me,
yeah,
gold.
I mean, so like if you're in with Amazon, then you have all of your shipping, warehousing, certain aspects of customer service. It all exists there. So we don't have to go find a 3PL. We don't have to go find a manufacturer. We're not negotiating shipping rates in a country where we don't know the addresses, we don't know the laws. And so you're able to, it's more expensive to go through Amazon, but if you're looking to scale quickly and you have the margin on your products, that's how we're going to do it. And then 2 to 6 months after, depending on how it's going, we will follow with our website. And from in the beginning, we will fulfill website orders from Amazon Logistics. You can do that. It can be very handy and beneficial. Again, it's more expensive, but we're not paying to find our own, warehouse and all of that. Once we have enough data on the market and kind of the buying power and which products are being consumed more, then we will move into, importing products to our own warehouses, fulfilling orders in that way, and then expanding into retail. A lot of these retail partners and .coms exist in a lot of different countries. So, um, yeah, those places want to see you successful first. It's a big risk on them to launch you in a country where you don't have no data performing yet. So, the life cycle to really get up and running is anywhere from 6 months to a year. Um, and it's still very new to us. So it's something that we will continue to perfect. But, you know, our our brand is very uh, we try to be a really authentic brand. And so like you see a lot of our employees' perspectives and them in our social media, for instance. It's very
Mm-hmm.
personal to the people and it's culturally relevant. And so something that we are in the process of building right now is what does a global brand look and feel like? What does it look and feel like when people are speaking a different language, when there's a different cultural expectations, when there's different norms and gender roles? How do we take who we are as a brand and keep that the best part of it that really like hits people in their heart and have it feel that way in multiple countries? So, our what we're thinking is, and what we're starting to do, because our brand also operates in China, is hiring um, marketing consultants that are from that country. They need to speak English, but we want experts in that culture, in that marketplace, in that industry, and then we will work with them. They will guide us on what it means to create content, write, you know, product packaging and descriptions. Customer service, we have one of our big commitments is that customer service will always be handled by the country in which you're calling from or reaching out from. Um, we all know what it's like to have that experience of talking to somebody in a different country. Not that it's always bad, but there's sometimes a barrier. It's hard to get what you need. And, other countries' addresses are different. Like
Mm-hmm.
all these things are different. So our commitment is to really investing in the country that we're working in and allowing a lot of, we will have an affiliate program in that country. We will do events. We will invest every aspect of who we are as a brand that we've done here in that country. We're not looking to just go in and milk it for revenue. Like our goal is impact. We're looking to create a global community. And so that takes, we spent years kind of finding our groove here in the States. We have a pretty good idea of what makes the whole thing work now. It's going to look a little different in every country, but we want to invest in the spaces that we are going in. We want to collaborate with brands in Australia. We're already in conversations with some big affiliates, influencers, instructors, events, um, another mobile app. Like we're already reaching out, and I think that's really fun. Is even before we launch, we start that process, so that whenever we do launch, we have a little foot on the ground. We have some support. We have some fellow collaborators, and and all of that. So, but that is
That's
a
awesome.
tremendous piece of what growth looks like for us. Um,
Hmm.
in the next 10 years, our goal is for the brand to be worth $40 billion.
Wow. When you told me that before, I was like, man, a weight company do 40 billion is a big number for, selling a product, right? But from what I hear what you're saying, this is more than a product. It sounds like the product is going to be maybe a third or more of the company, you
Yep.
know. And yeah, that's a big number, but I think you guys can do it from what it sounds like.
It feels so
It could.
intangible. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
it's
when,
crazy.
our Cami, our founder, is such a visionary person, and
Hmm.
when she told me this, I was like,
Okay.
okay. Um, but then even from a couple of years ago, we had some of these goals, whether it was revenue or with team or like whatever these goals were. And at the time, I remember thinking like, there's no way. There's
Yeah,
no way we're going to do this. And then we
16
did
million
it.
in 2 years? No.
But then there's things since then we've accomplished, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like Cami is such a visionary, and she's built a global brand before. And so like I try and be a sponge with her.
Mm.
She's a great business partner. I mean, she really does not like elevate herself in any way. I joke that like we were setting up our studio and she was like over in the corner ironing the curtains, and then like she has a home here in Connecticut that we have some overflow stock at. And so every day for a good 2 hours, she's packaging kettlebells and shipping them to people she's probably literally packaging kettlebells right now, and she takes them to UPS or FedEx. Like that's just the kind of person that she is.
Mm.
The most humble, truly amazing people, a fantastic mentor, a great friend.
Oh my goodness,
Um,
yeah.
and so I've just learned that, I may not be able to see it, and that's okay. I don't need to totally understand how we're going to get there, but like between the two of us, I know we will do it.
Mm.
We've already done things that I thought there was no way that was going to happen. Um, and then that's when business becomes really fun. It truly is like, I know people say, oh, do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. I work very hard, but I would not trade it for anything. I love what we do. I love our team, the impact that we get to have. I'm a licensed therapeutic foster parent. I work exclusively with teenage boys because they are the most overlooked. They're the least likely to get placed. They have behavioral issues. It's complicated. And so
Mm.
as, I am in a same-sex household, my partner and I, there's no woman in the house, which is really good for these boys because women can often be the people who get objectified or manipulated or all of that. So anyway, it's something that is very close to my heart. I'm very passionate about it. Um, and I remember, I started fostering right around the time that I met Cami and started with WeGym. And there were times when I would have to like an emergency take a day off of work because like the kid's being hospitalized, or like we were dealing with kind of the worst of the worst. And just she was
Mm.
so supportive. And I remember telling her, we get kids all the time and they come with all of their belongings and clothes and everything in black trash bags. And it breaks my heart every time you see this poor kid who's being removed from their family, possibly jumping to their 10th foster home that year. And all of their belongings are in trash bags. They rip, they get dumped out on the drive. It's humiliating. And I said, Cami, I want to do something about it. She said, do it. Do something about it. So we ordered 6,000 bags that will be distributed, like reusable tote bags that will be distributed to foster agencies and DCF throughout Connecticut. And that's just the kind of like there was no hesitation. Our focus philanthropically, we haven't really even talked about this, is women and children. I'm very passionate about obviously women's health, women's research, but also children, um, you know, specifically kids in foster care and adoptive care. And it's something that we consistently are donating product. We are um, supporting events. We do it kind of on a smaller, granular level. Um, and we don't really talk about it all that much, to be honest. Like, it's not something that we're out there screaming from the rooftops. Um, I'm kind of I never want it to just have the appearance that we're doing something, or that we're, it's like brands who, you know, only prioritize women during a certain month, or they only prioritize LGBTQ voices during Pride Month. Like, you have to be doing it all the time. You have to constantly be doing the work. And I think right now, to be a brand that people can really identify with, you have to be bigger than just your brand. You have to be bigger than just the product that you sell or the service that you offer.
Mm-hmm.
We go back to impact. What is the impact that we want to see in our local communities, in the country, in our community, and kind of let that fuel what we're doing. And it's interesting because then the rest of the business falls into place. Like the D2C part, it works. Product development, it works. Collaborations, like I think when you're able, and I think whether you're a business or a person, when you're able to really be clear and commit to, like, what is the impact I want to have? What's the legacy I want to leave, and be committed to that, all of the other stuff just falls into place. And it sounds a little woo woo, but that's been our approach over the past few years, and it's working. Business is great. So, and it's something that we haven't really wavered on. And when Cami and I have conversations about the future, or we talk about, what WeGym looks like in 10 years, it's a conversation about changing the world. It's a conversation around changing our community, about changing, the expectations that exist that are harmful. I mean, we talk about changing the world. We don't talk about profit. So I love that. I think it's such a rare gift, because Cami is someone who could very easily be, you know, sitting on her wealth and just making, like, she could be so money profit focused, and instead she chooses to do this, and she chooses to let me and our team do something that we care about and that we think is really special. And I think I think more really successful business billionaires should be doing that.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
she's at her house loading
she's
kettlebells into
literally
boxes.
packaging.
Multi-billionaire into
Yeah, because she wants to save on
crazy.
like the $2 or $3 fee. The excitement that she got when I took her to Costco and she got the $1.50 like Costco hot dog and drink. I have never seen anybody get more excited about anything. It's so funny, but that's just kind of the person that she is.
Wow, that's funny. And she could, yeah, that's crazy because I mean, she could buy whatever she want,
Yeah.
the $1.50.
Well,
The
she's
mindset though,
also
I mean, she's so successful, so you got to absorb anything, like any
like
minute detail is like, wow, like why, and
and successful in the technology industry, which is male dominated. Like, go out there and find a female
in
founder
China
CEO
too.
in China.
In China, because America's the women are, but China is
It's
different.
shifting a little bit,
Yeah,
yeah. So like,
yeah,
she's just
it's
such
true.
a boss bitch. Like,
Wow.
it's so. I told her I was coming on here, and I said I think he really wants to meet you. I
Yes, I
was like,
do.
well,
Please.
how about you go on it, and then maybe. Yeah, I would love for you to meet her at some point. She's truly one of the most brilliant, amazing people I've ever met. So
That's awesome. And you have so much gold information. I'm sure that she does too. And we've talked for 2 hours. So this is
I could
and I
talk
know
for
we can
another
even talk
two.
more. So we'll have to maybe plan a time to have both you and her on again.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could talk for another 2 hours or more. You have to
yeah.
keep it. But to wrap it up here, give us some. I mean, I want. There's so many more things I wanted to ask, but we just had so much good information. Like, so we'll I guess try to run through it. Is any good quotes that you like to live by? Something that's been really thinking about
Oh,
this month.
I have one. So I love Dolly Parton, and I think a titan of a human being.
I like Dolly Parton too. I've been at
Philanthropy,
Dolly World a couple times.
business. I love Dolly. My grandfather
Yeah,
worked at Dollywood for after
yeah,
he retired from the Navy. He wanted to do something fun, so he moved to Tennessee to work at Dollywood.
that's
Anyway,
awesome.
she says, "Find out who you are and do it on purpose." And I love that. I think it's I think everybody has their own special set of skills and wants and things that they're passionate about. And not to make it sound too like cliche, but I think there really is a harmony that exists when you're able to be honest about what do you want? Like what do I want? What legacy do I want? What's the daily life that I want? Figure that out and then make it happen. The money will follow. The other things will follow. It may take some time, but I think there's a harmony and a balance when you can kind of um yeah,
Yeah,
figure out what that
that's
line
awesome.
is. Another one I like, I don't know who said it, but um is wherever you go, there you are. I think,
Mm,
I have ADHD. I'm
amen.
almost certain I'm like kind of on the autism spectrum. Um, and as our team has grown and my responsibilities grown and all of that, I would have all these goals for myself, or I would think that change would look like this. And once I got to
Mm,
that point, like, oh, it would be different. It never is.
hmm
And I like this, like wherever you're going to be there, so accept that and then plan for it. If
hmm
you know that this is something that you're going to need or whatever, like as a leader who is, I'm constantly reinventing myself. I'm constantly out of my comfort zone. I mean, daily having conversations and meetings, making multi-million dollar decisions. You have to really, again, find that balance of like, I know who I am, I know what's important to me, and I need to be realistic and make
Yeah.
sure that I'm making these decisions that are in line with my values, in line with my capabilities.
hmm
Um, that has been valuable to me.
I love that. That's something that I've lived by for a while is wherever you are, being the Bruce Lee, you're filling the container. Be like water, fill the
Yeah.
container, wherever you are, make it happen. There's another guy that was saying a little bit of a narcissism, of like the I'm gonna make it, it's gonna like I'm gonna make it out of it, or I'm gonna do it, you know,
Yep.
have like that much confidence, enough confidence, not to be narcissistic. He said he
Mhm.
explained it in a lot better way, but you know what I'm saying,
There's
where
a
having that confidence to just I know I'm gonna make it through this.
Yeah, there's a amazing speech by Martin Luther King Jr., the drum major speech. I think I listen to it probably once a year, and it talks about this, that like to be a leader, it you have to be a little bit crazy, number one, if you're looking to really make some change. But um yeah, listen to the Martin Luther King Jr. speech, drum major. It is so inspiring, especially
Mm,
if you're looking to have an impact in this world and you're trying to reconcile what like the personal recognition and the personal gain within that looks like, while also truly being committed to change and impact. You have to have both. I don't believe in altruism. I don't believe that you have to like sacrifice to do something worthwhile. I don't believe that. And I think again, it's that alignment. of like, I know what I want to create for myself. I know that I want to be taken seriously. I know that what I want to be remembered for, and that means something to me. And I know that I want to support people and change their lives and change an industry. You can do both, and that's okay.
Mm, I like that. And that educational source, listen to the Martin Luther King Jr. speech.
Listen to
Any
it.
other any
It's
other books, educational? How do you train yourself? I know that you have surround yourself with great people. I think that's something that you've implemented, which I
um,
think everybody can take. But
I I love Audible, so I'm constantly I don't love to read, but I drive a lot, so like I read through Audible. A book that I gift more than any other book is Tribe by Sebastian Younger. And I gift it in a sense of like, for people who are maybe in like a leadership role, or they are building a brand, like really entrepreneurial people, because the book, it's all about like Native American Indian tribes, and it looks at what the dynamic was and how just wildly different it is from this kind of like global community that we're in now. And so it looks at mental health issues. It looks at PTSD. The author is a war reporter, and it's a quick read. It's not a long book. That book quite literally changed my life. And when it comes time to how I think about politics, how I think about, again, building a brand in my team and managing our community, and what do you prioritize? I weekly, at least, I think I reference something from that book. Um, Another book that I can wrap up with this too, but um, I love the Dune book series. So
mm,
I think it's the third book. It's called God, Emperor of Dune, and the premise is crazy, but the Dune series is very in depth when it comes to politics and
hmm
anthropology and leadership. I mean, the leadership aspects of these books I think are amazing, but there's one piece that I love, and it's the emperor at the time. He said the difference between, and he called them an administrator, but it just meant like a good professional or team or person. He said the difference between a good one and a bad one is about 5 heartbeats. And the what he's getting at is that to be a good and effective professional at anything, it's about quickness. It's about like you don't hesitate. You make the
mm,
best decision that you can, and then if you fuck it up, so what? Learn from it, acknowledge your mistake, and move on again.
hmm
And it instead, what you see a lot of people doing is um, trying to always have the cover your ass email, sitting on something for a really long time, trying to get as much information as they possibly can, which isn't bad, but then you're not prioritizing change. You're prioritizing like sitting.
mm,
And he talks a lot about that ability to, work really well off of verbal orders. That's something I'm very clear about with my team, is that if we have a meeting and we discuss something, I don't need you to send a cover your ass email. We know what we discussed. And if I can't trust you at your word, then this is not going to work. You have to be
mm,
able to have a high level of integrity, and I need to be able to believe in your word. And that was another big piece of what he gets at. But just the ability to make quick decisions, not to
hmm
hesitate, to act, and
hmm
then think critically, get through it, make a decision. If you fuck it up,
mm,
so what? Move on. Own it.
right,
You have
right,
to own it.
mm.
If you can't own it, it doesn't matter if you move on. You have to accept the responsibility and be accountable to it.
Yeah,
Um,
passivity is so big in people these days. It's a poison that you
yeah.
drink yourself, you know?
Yep. And
Yeah.
it's something that I absolutely will not tolerate on my team. And if
Yeah.
I see somebody going through that route, I will pull them aside and we will have a conversation about it.
hmm Yeah.
Um,
And when
Yeah.
you say talk about quickness, Cody Sanchez is a girl that I follow, and she's an entrepreneur. Shout out to Cody Sanchez. Love you. She does great stuff. One of the things that she says is from her people, when somebody has an idea, before they even had time to, try it the first time, I've done it 5 times already and I've failed and I found the best way to do it. Or I've
Right.
succeeded. She's like, by the time, well, she was quoting one of her mentors, right? But she's implemented this herself. And that we've done at our companies, at our digital marketing is, you know, ChatGPT's come out. People are like, oh, we want to rank high on the deep research for ChatGPT. How do we get our companies and our clients to rank high? By the time all these other companies are thinking about, and even still, like today, people aren't implementing some of this stuff. We've already done it, left, right, and center, found out the
Mm-hmm.
best way to do it, and we're doing it, and we're still finding out the best way. And some people are still like, oh, that's good. I'm going to start implementing that in my, strategies.
Yep.
And the quickness is so you got to be
Yep.
quick with it. When AI comes out, we were first on that. Boom,
Mm-hmm.
quick.
Yep.
And
I,
that's how you jump ahead. I think that's so
yeah.
good.
I tell people all the time, and some people don't like this, but ideas are cheap. I can give you
Oh
500
yeah.
ideas before breakfast. Ideas are cheap. You want to do something incredible, take action on it. Something that I think that we do really well as a business, and it's largely because Cami like pushes us to be this way, is that it just has to be good enough. And then you're never going to get it perfect without doing it. And so, like, we get our products as best as we possibly can, and then we do a soft launch. We get the feedback. We like, the marketing isn't perfect, the product images aren't perfect. We just get it out there. We get that feedback. We come back, we do it all, and then we do it again. And then and then like I think you're constantly doing that. You're constantly making it better, but in the begin, it has to be good enough. That's it.
Mm.
Um,
And even with ideas, if people are struggling with ideas, like ChatGPT is just AI. You can get, yeah, you're right. You can get so many ideas, thousands of them at your
Yep.
fingertips now. You don't even have to be really creative,
Mhm.
but you do have to actually do it. You know.
That's the missing piece, I think, for most people is that,
An analysis of paralysis is a real thing. You
oh,
know.
absolutely. And I've been guilty of
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Oh, me too, man.
I
Yeah.
mean, it'll like my big thing, and this is something that came from, I think it was Tim Ferriss. He always goes back to what would this look like if it were simple? I have a tendency to make something so big, and again, I have all these ideas and this and that and what,
Mhm.
and then it gets so big and intangible, then it's like, oh, okay, I can't like that. That's a beast. And so I am just constantly coming back to what would this look like if this were simple? You know, make it. You have to keep it simple,
Mm.
otherwise, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Or
know
even
that
with
about myself now. So,
Yeah, with systems having I always again tell our clients if you don't have a system, right, for this certain job that you're trying to get done that is easy and understandable enough for a 15-year-old to come in and do it,
uh-huh.
then it's too complicated,
Uh-huh.
right? If you're relying on the skilled labor, which I think skilled labor is phenomenal. If you can find those people, keep them, pay them well, train them well, right? But systems, yeah, it's got to be simple, achievable, have goals, always have goals, and these are great. I know we could talk for like so much longer. I know we're supposed to stop like 20 minutes ago, but we're still going. So, but Cameron, such a pleasure. Any closing remarks? Give us some shout outs. How can we hear more about you? Get in contact with your weights and
Yeah,
your
so
company.
we just bought WeGym.com. So we paid a pretty penny for it. So like our website is WeGym.com. Our Instagram is at WeGym_fit. Um, and then our mobile app is the WeGym Studio app. We're in all major app stores. So yeah, go check us out. I mean, I think that if for anybody listening to this, like number one, um, just start the thing, like if you're new to fitness, if you're like kind of coming back to it, you know, if our version and our take and our products or whatever can support you in that, great. If not, still do it, you know. Um, and I think from like a business perspective, I think lead with humanity. As you're developing a product, coming up with marketing, hiring a team, be a human first. And then I think it will transform the kind of relationships and results that you get. So
I love that. I love that. Cameron, thank you. This is John Klein with BrainWith and Kameron Kicklighter. Super cool last name. So I
thank you
hope you
so
guys
much.
have a good one. Thank you.